Hello everyone, welcome back to the e-learning space of MGM Higher Secondary School, Bokaro. This is the second video for Unit 5, Section A of your Class 8 English main course book. This lesson is a poem titled Wishing. The poet is Ella Wheeler Wilcox. In our previous video, we learnt about Ella Wheeler Wilcox, the poetess, and what the poem is about. In this video, let us discuss the poem in some more detail and discuss the textual exercises. What is this poem? Wishing. The poem Wishing by Ella Wheeler Wilcox is a poem with a beautiful message. The poetess says that if one wants to make a difference in the world, then one must begin with oneself. Everyone wants to live in a wiser world or happier world, but nobody makes a start. Real change in the world around us can be witnessed, can be seen, only if we begin changing ourselves. The positive impact of each person analyzing his or her own mistakes and shortcomings and then working towards correcting it should not be underestimated. Combining the individual consciousness of the people, the positive impact only gets multiplied. If people collectively start making positive changes in their behavior and personality, then one fine day the chain of this positivity will become longer and longer. Let us critically appreciate the poem. We see that the poem Wishing by Ella Wheeler Wilcox is written in 5 stanzas. Each stanza has 4 lines. Now, every stanza is replete with positivity and optimism. It is directing us towards making positive changes and how to bring optimism in the world. Now, we see that throughout the poem, the poet poses certain questions to its readers and then goes ahead to answer them. This answer is basically an answer, a solution to us who are wishing to live in a happier world. What is the solution? If you want to live in a happier world, you must begin building a happier world. And how can you build that happier world? By making yourself happy, by changing your incorrect ways, by correcting yourself. So if every individual on this planet starts correcting oneself, ultimately the huge positive impact will change the world for the better. In the poem, we see that the poet uses some archaic words. Archaic means old words, words from the Old English vocabulary like oft and ere. Now the rhyming scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. That is, the second line of each stanza rhymes with the fourth line of the same stanza. The two very striking poetic devices that we find in this poem are alliteration and metaphors. One example of each I have shared with you, and while reading the poem in our previous video, we also discussed about certain other examples. So the first example that we see is, do you wish the world were wiser? We see the sound were is repeated at the beginning of these words, which are very close to each other, quite adjacent to each other. There is also an example of metaphor, just to scatter seeds of kindness. Kindness is compared to being a seed which when scattered will only grow bigger and better. Now, what is the message of this poem? The message is that be the change you wish to see in the world around you. This is something even Mahatma Gandhi said, and the poem resonates the same message. You have to be the voice of change. You want to bring a change? Then be the change. If you want the world to be wiser, start by learning knowledge, by gaining knowledge. You want the world to be kinder, start being kind to others. You want the world to know what it means to be happy, then start correcting your ways and start being happy. Let us now come to the textual exercises. About the poem, answer these questions with reference to the context. Don't waste one page on folly. Live to learn and learn to live. What page is the poet referring to here? The poet is referring to the page of life here. How would a page be wasted on folly? A page of life would be wasted on foolishness. Folly means foolishness. If one were to waste their time in learning nothing and not accumulating enough knowledge to pass on to other people. What does live to learn suggest? Live to learn suggests that one must spend their time learning all that is there to learn and keeping a watch on their actions. So basically, the poetess is all about knowledge and wisdom. Come to the second exercise. Find words or expressions in the poem that means the same as the following. To gather something over a period of time. The word is accumulate. Comfort or ease. The word is pleasures. A single person can make a big difference. So the expression, as the hand that plants an acorn shelters armies from the sun. This expression means that a single person can make a big difference. Answer these questions. What three wishes are expressed in the poem? The three wishes expressed in the poem are keeping a watch on one's actions, accumulating wisdom, and spreading kindness. What qualities are associated with being straight and true? The qualities associated with being straight and true are honesty, loyalty, trustworthiness, and sincerity. The poet lists 5 do's and 1 don't in the poem. What are they? The 5 do's listed by the poet are keeping one's actions straight and true, accumulating wisdom, living to learn and learning to live, imparting knowledge to others, and spreading kindness. The one don't listed by the poem is that one should not waste their life in folly. So coming to the fourth question, what does the expression seeds of kindness suggest? The expression seeds of kindness suggests that one should always spread kindness wherever they go and to whomever they meet. Acts of kindness from one person often motivate other people to spread kindness around them as well, as we discussed in our first video on this lesson. Coming to discuss and write. In the last stanza, the poet talks about planting acorns. An acorn is the seed of an oak tree which matures after many years. What quality is the poet suggesting we should have? We should have the quality of patience. Means we are planting a seed and then waiting for it to ripen. So he is suggesting patience, and also he's suggesting that we should be generous. Do not think that if you have planted a tree only you are going to benefit from it. Be selfless about it. The poem exemplifies the proverb, as you sow, so shall you reap. Explain. So, as you have already learned in the previous lesson, what are proverbs and what are idioms? So, proverb here is advising something. Proverb is telling you something as an advice. So, whatever you will sow means whatever seed you will plant, the tree shall grow into that particular plant only. For example, if you sow a cactus, you're going to reap a cactus. If you sow a mango tree, you're going to reap a mango tree. Basically, your actions, what you do, the results will come accordingly. If you do somebody wrong and expect the world to be right to you, that is not going to happen. Your actions will determine what will happen to you. Remember that. So the poem is basically an example of that. Your actions tell more about you and they also tell what might happen to you. Now read to appreciate. Read this line of the poem. Do you wish the world were wiser? As discussed earlier, each highlighted word begins with the same sound. This repetition of a sound at the beginning of words that appear close to each other is known as alliteration. We discussed this in our first video on this lesson as well in the same video in the beginning while discussing about critical appreciation. Such repetition of sound in a poem gives a musical quality. Read the poem once more and find other examples of alliteration. Underline them in your textbook and let your imagination loose and try making a few alliterations of your own. This is what your textbook suggests. Coming to the end of the lesson and the textual exercises, here are the assignments that you are going to do. You will read the poem once again and mark the tough words. You're going to learn the word meanings from the book. Complete all the textual exercises. We have already discussed it in the video here. And do exercise A and C given on page 97 in your English copies. And after that, based on your understanding of the poem, give a pictorial representation of it and color it. That brings us to the end of our lesson, children, and our video as well. Thank you everyone and take care. See you in the next video.